What's up, everybody? It's going to be our next IG Live interview with my boy Deven. If I can send him the invite. Oh, there we go. Yo,
What's up?
not much. How's it going for you?
I can't complain. Don't
Yeah,
mind don't mind that backdrop behind me.
it's all good. I mean, you can see my whole closet, all my books in the shelf, so you're good. All right. How's the week and everything been for you though?
Long. We're
Yeah.
uh Me and my wife are getting ready to go on vacation next week, so the week's kind of dragging right now.
Yeah, you're just ready to
Uh,
go.
yeah, we're going down to Miami and on Sunday, and then we're gonna be in the Bahamas on a cruise for the week. So.
Wow. All right, you guys are doing it up.
Yeah, this is gonna be the first of three three trips. So
Nice.
we're gonna be busy.
Very nice. My boy Terrence in the chat. What's going on? All right, so we got a couple people, so I guess we could get started. I've been wanting to do this one for a while. Every single time I talk to you, like when it's to pick up the ice cream, I'm always picking your brain about stuff. So I appreciate you like giving me the opportunity to do like a whole interview. Um,
Yeah.
because like you're like a wealth of knowledge, and I feel like a lot of people are either afraid to ask or don't really know that. You know what I mean? So super excited about it. So why don't you introduce yourself? My first question is basically like, how long have you been competing? What got you into it? Some of your favorite competitors, blah, blah, blah. So kind of give us a background about you and what like got you into everything.
So originally what happened was like through college and everything, I worked out, but I wasn't really like into it too much. I was kind of just doing it to do it, not really caring about what's going on. And then it wasn't until probably like 2017 was I went to the Arnold Europa down in AC when the last time they had it out here, and I went down there and I'm just walking around, you know, meeting all the vendors and everything, and meeting a bunch of people, and I kept getting people ask me, "Oh, do you compete? Do you compete?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about." So I knew nothing about it at the time when I first really started getting into everything. And then it was probably February no, I'm sorry, that was 2016. So then I think February in 2017 was when I started prepping for a show, for my first show, and that was actually the day after my birthday was the first show that I did. Um, but it was just I had no idea what was going on at all leading up to it, and it was just one of the things where I kind of just dove right in, and I luckily had people that were in the industry that were able to help me. So I had my old high school teacher who actually was with Gaspari Nutrition. She actually ran into her down there, and then she really was like, telling me about it and everything, and then kind of helped me figure out what to do when it came to, you know, pretty much a basic diet to start. And, my body is just like pretty freaky. So it just like naturally responded. And then, work with a posing coach to to not embarrass myself on stage.
Hmm.
And then, seeing I came in second place and seeing like kind of how for my first show, and everything, how it went, I was like, okay, I can really get into this. Um, so that's kind of how I got started into it. And then for me, when it comes to, the kind of people that I look up to when it comes to this is like right now, like Terrence Ruffin, Ruff Diesel, his posing and everything and his mindset is something I look to. Uh, Guy Cisternino is great because he's just, work, 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 no matter what. So I mean, I kind of look up to him as well when it comes to this stuff. And then like your other pretty like basics, which is the same for everybody, like Lee Labrada, Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray, guys that just like really focus on the posing aspect and coming in great. Those are kind of some of the guys that like I really have looked up to, still look up to, like always watching little things from them through YouTube videos and stuff like that. So that's that's kind of like where it all began.
Nice. Yeah, definitely Terrence Ruffin, super impressive. I think, honestly, in my opinion, he's one of, if not the best poser in the game. Got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah,
Same thing with Guy Cisternino. Dude's work ethic is crazy. I love
yeah,
watching videos of him and John Meadows, RIP. Those two going at
yeah.
it together.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. Um, so what's kind of like your athletic background? Because it's like it's one thing to whatever talk about like getting into competing and everything, but what kind of got you into lifting in general?
So really, it was just playing college football was kind of start. It was like one of the things where you had to do it. Like there was no way around it. So that was kind of like what got the ball rolling with it. And then from there, I was actually able to play arena ball as well out in Kansas. So that kind of really kept it going and really got me started. I was actually fortunate to be out in Wichita playing for a team out there, and I had actually a buddy from Jersey who was actually going to Wichita State. So I was able to work out with him to kind of help keep me going with it. So that was kind of huge for me because I had somebody to actually work out with, push things like that because that's like the most important thing. And it was at that time it was all me in with arena because we didn't have an actual facility. We had a free gym membership to a gym, but it wasn't like, hey guys, everybody come at this time. It was just you
Gotcha.
get your workout in, you get it in. If not, oh well. But it's really the the college aspect that helped keep me focused when it came to actually training and being consistent with it.
Nice. That's awesome. So, was it like working with other people where you really learned most of like how to train, or did you kind of already have an idea and it was just like they were kind of like the icing on the cake?
So I kind of had an idea, but it was like kind of getting things from different people is kind of what helped me to kind of figure out what works for me, what I like, what I don't like, like most people, I'm always learning or watching videos on different things to try different things, whether it's in the gym or with a diet for prep or something like that. So I kind of just always try things, see what works for me, and then stick with it. So I'm just like, uh, I usually like when I'm trying to help people out and they ask my advice, I give them a couple different ideas of what I think might work, and not just one set plan, which
Right.
is like huge.
Yeah,
So
definitely. So I actually went to college for music ed, um, but I've been lifting since I was like 16, right? So I
mhm,
kind of gravitated towards the health and exercise science majors on my floor, and I started being
mhm,
boys with them so I could like pick their mind about stuff as well. So like a lot of the high intensity techniques or like different mobility work and stuff like that, I learned from my boys in college. Like
yeah,
I think it's like my sophomore year of college and I was working out with my boy in the mornings, and he would have us do like cluster sets and stuff like that for squats.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was crazy. And so it's like I definitely feel like, just like you're saying, you should like kind of take the meat and spit out the bones of everybody who you work with, because at the end of the day, it's all about you and your body for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so speaking of like personalized approaches, what is your approach to dieting, and like how do you maintain a lean physique year round? Because it seems like every time I see you, you're freaking shredded. Versus me, me, I like fluctuate throughout the year.
Um, so I mean, for me, I'm able to stay lean because I don't really push it as hard in the off season. And generally, my off season, I'm doing a bunch of different things. So I kind of have to pull back with the training and things like that. So I still kind of push it, but then I also pull it back. So that's usually why I'm pretty much lean year round. I also don't go crazy with my fats no matter what, you know. So even if my carbs are really high, my fats never really get too high for myself most of the time. Because I think at one point I was I was like 500 grams of carbs, a couple hundred grams of protein, but then my fat was still like 100, I think under 100.
Gotcha.
And so I was still pretty much building, but at a slower pace. And that's how I was kind of able to develop muscle and not really be out of shape ever
Right.
and be like, you know, and be close to, you know, a prep shape and not have to kill myself with cardio or with a diet and things like that.
Yeah, and I feel like that makes a lot of sense. And like you hear it a lot where it's like, okay, well, you should have a high protein diet and blah blah blah, and then people kind of like demonize certain macros. And
Yeah.
um, like I try to take a similar approach and try to keep the fats lower, because then it's like, okay, well, I can eat more because the thermic effect of like proteins and even carbs is going to be higher than fats. It's not
Yeah.
that hard for your body to turn fat into fat. So that definitely makes a lot of sense. So it seems like you try to maintain year round. So what are your thoughts on bulking?
If like bulking to, you know, cut down for a show or just like
Yeah, I
if
guess I just
you're,
kind of, I would
yeah,
say, to
it's,
make it more like specific, I would say, I don't know, that's a tough one. But like more so like bulking, I guess, like to put on muscle versus um and being in like a slight surplus. Like, do you feel like you have to eat big to get big, I guess is what I'm saying.
uh, yeah, yes, but I don't think you have to, you know, be, you know, I guess eat ridiculously big, like when it comes to your fats and things like that. Personally, you know, everybody has their own opinion, but you know, me, I'm able to, you know, I've made improvements and not, you know, been crazy fat in the off season. Like, but I also am somebody that doesn't like being fat in the off season. Like,
Yeah.
that's just personal preference. Um, so I mean, bulking I am for, but I'm also for understanding that if you do that, you have to be prepared to do a longer prep if you're prepping for a show. Like,
Yeah.
don't try to bulk and then try to still diet down in 8 weeks because you're really most likely you're not going to be to the max of your capacity doing it that way. Like it's or you're going to have to like really kill yourself and really cut your calories in order to get there. And if somebody that has done that, it's not worth it. That,
Yeah.
so I mean there was because I but and I learned from personal experience because I've done a prep where I got to 230, something like that, which is like only time I was at 230, but I had to eat a whole bunch of nonsense to get there. So I was sitting there, I was eating dinner was usually a frozen pizza with some frozen mozzarella sticks from Stop and
Right.
Shop.
Yeah.
Like I used to be a real fat diet back in the day, trying to put on weight, but I was also with the wrong mindset, thinking let me just eat as much as I can, and the weight I put on is the weight I put on, and then I'll just cut it all down. But I had to do too much cardio for that, and so I try to tell people just prep a little longer, take it easy. Don't worry about getting too big in the off season because then you're going to kill yourself. So
Yeah, and like, so I personally have never competed. I've never prepped for a show, but I have done, and not that it's like the same thing because you guys diet down to crazy like body fat levels and it's nuts. But I've lost, I think, 51 pounds my first time really dieting, and then like 30 the next time. And so the thing that I realized is I I can still build muscle in a deficit and I can still build strength in a deficit, right? So it's like, why would I spend all this time just pounding food, gaining whatever 20 plus pounds if, like you're saying, I'm going to have to work even harder to lose that fat, like if when I'm dieting down. And then on top of that, like you're saying, like if you can do a maintenance like year round or even like a slight surplus, like your gains you're going to be able to keep and not have to diet as hard versus if you bulk up by the time, let's say whatever, you gain like 30 plus pounds, by the time you lose that 30 plus pounds of fat, you're really not going to gain that much muscle because you're dieting so hard.
yeah,
um,
yeah. So like
for sure.
like for example, um, the prep where I got to 230, I was able to cut all the way back down to 200, and I still did it. I was able to do it in 8 weeks. I'm a freak of nature, so I was able to come. I was able to come all the way down and still be shredded, but I had to do like 6 to 7 days of cardio, of fasted cardio. I was doing training for hour and a half or so. So and just doing too much and kind of almost burning myself out in order to get there. The last prep I did I did cardio when I wanted to, and most of the time that was usually after meal four, before meal five, and then I never trained fasted.
Mm,
So I train in the mornings. So every morning I had an apple or oatmeal or something like that. So my workouts were never fasted like before because I had to do it because I don't like afternoon workouts. Because the last thing I want to deal with is people in the gym because you know how
yeah,
crunchy it is. Yeah.
yeah,
So I mean it you don't have to kill yourself.
yeah.
So.
So, speaking of that, I know a lot of people are die hard, like, you got to do fasted cardio, bro. You got to do fasted cardio. And I kind of understand the science a little bit because it's like, okay, well, if you're fasted, you're more geared towards using your fat stores as an energy source. In my personal opinion, I feel like it doesn't matter as much because, like, as long as you're in a deficit, like, you're going to lose the fat. So, are you as hard pressed about doing fasted cardio anymore, or are you kind of just like, listen, man, like, I'm just going to do it when I want to do it?
No, I'm not. So now I'm to the point where if I do fasted cardio, it's it would only be like on a Saturday or Sunday, and it would only be like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes at the most. Like other than that, I don't do fasted cardio anymore. Um, I helped out a buddy of mine prep for a show, and I told him you don't have to do fasted cardio. If you want to, that's fine, but like you don't have to like wake up at 4 a.m. to get your fasted cardio in before meal
Yeah,
one or something like that. Like that's like it's completely irrelevant for me at this point. Like
yeah,
my cardio, I get it in when I want to get it in. Most of the time, I had a treadmill in my house here, so I would just do it like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and just 30 minutes or so, if that, sometimes more, because the main goal of your cardio is just to burn calories. Like,
Hmm.
so you're just staying in a deficit. That way, you can still eat, you can still eat a higher amount of calories, but still be in that deficit no matter what. Like, that's the purpose of cardio to me.
Yeah,
Cardio is not like it's I'm not doing fasted cardio or cardio in general to, you know, burn up this fat. I gotta lose this lower back fat or something like that. That's not
yeah,
that's not what it is for me. So that's
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. And like so, like that being said, I tend to prefer fasted cardio just because I don't like going for a walk or a run or something if I just ate. Like for me, like I feel better. I don't know. I feel lighter and more mobile if that kind of makes sense. But what definitely like when I was deep into like dieting, I would just do it when I could.
Yeah.
And sometimes like, and that's why I'm very jealous of your genetics because it seems like you can kind of do what you want to do and then it's going to work. For me, I had to do cardio like 3 times a day. It freaking sucked. It was awful. And then I would still only get down to like 12% body fat. So yeah,
Yeah, like but look, I was right there with you. I learned the hard way. So, I know what it's like to be doing, an hour faster cardio in the morning, or doing, another half an hour or so at night. Been there, done that.
yeah,
And, to me, I wasn't any better than I was when I was just doing it when I wanted.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
that's
definitely.
that comes with experience, and then you end up, learning. You try it the other way and see if it works for you. If, like you said, you prefer fasted, so if that's what you prefer, do it. Like, whatever's more enjoyable for you to keep you going is really what it comes down to.
Yeah. And I think that was the other thing that was kind of like the trade off for me is Um, yes, whatever, I work hard, but I also tend to be a very lazy person. And so I was kind of like, I would rather eat less food than have to do more cardio. But then it was killing me for like my weightlifting because I wouldn't have the right fuel sources to lift as heavy and to go as hard as I wanted to. So I'm like, okay, like, let me suck it up, do more cardio so I can eat more food and then function better. Because like you're
Yeah,
saying, like the meal timing is definitely huge for the workouts as well.
yeah. So,
Um,
wait, quick question for you. So,
yeah.
when you were dieting down, were you having like your carbs around your workout, or how were you doing it? Not
Yeah,
everybody's
so
different.
I would wake up and do my fasted cardio, and then I would have like protein shake, green supplements, like that kind of stuff. And then I would train some people, and then I would have my pre-workout meal before I would lift, and that's where I would generally have like my carbs for the day to fuel the lift. But it
Mm,
was just tough because like so for example, last year I was training for my bench competition, and we were trying to hit 225 for as many reps as you can, and it's like I was on, I think it was like 16 to 1800 calories, and it's like for me to be on that few calories but also trying to hit 225 as hard as I can, like it was a struggle. So it's like, yeah, you can do it, but it's not like optimal.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of supplements, what are some of your like your go-to stuff? Or like, there's so much like BS, and this company says it's better than this company for this reason, and this is like our secret mixture, blah blah blah. So, what are some of your go-to supplements, and what tends to help you with your performance, recovery, like all that good stuff?
So, for me, I actually don't really take too many supplements myself. Right now, one which everybody pretty much does, pre-workout. And for me, right now, I'm doing Bucked Up's pre-workout. So, one of their stems, and I have their pump product as well. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Gotcha.
But I mean, uh, pretty much anything. I I know a ton of people that, are for different companies. So if I have questions, I can reach out. to one of them to kind of see what they have, that what I might want to try. It's just all up in the air when it comes to pre-workouts. Um, I do glutamine, um, and usually I'm doing like 10 to 15 grams for recovery, a little bit of digestion as well. Um, what else am I doing? When I'm dieting down, usually Yohimbe, because Yohimbe is great to help get an added sweat. Because I usually don't sweat too bad. Like I'm not one of those people that's like ever drenched in the gym.
Mhm.
So kind of just like for the thermogenic properties, I usually do that. Um, I don't take too much. Intracarbs.
Gotcha.
But I actually, especially like right now, because I'm kind of dieting down a little bit, so I normally do like carbs, like liquid carbs, with my pre-workout.
Gotcha.
'Cause that way, because since I train in the mornings, I don't really, right now, I'm not eating before my workout. So I'll normally do, carbs plus the pre-workout and, a scoop or two of glutamine, and then I'm down that, and that'll kind of help fuel me for my workout. Uh, what am I doing? I don't really do too much. Oh, ZMA. I actually just started taking that, and that's actually been really great when it comes to me being able to get to sleep, to help with recovery and sleep. You know, now like I'm able to fall asleep and then I actually wake up refreshed because generally I tend to wake up pretty tired, because I actually can't. I don't sleep. I don't sleep great.
Mhm.
Usually I can fall asleep, but I can't stay asleep. So I'm usually right around like 5 hours, 5.5 hours of sleep. So I've been taking it for probably around a week and been able to see a big difference with it. So
Nice.
it's been pretty nice for me. But I can't think of anything else I'm really taking right now. I, big one for people, digestive enzyme.
Mhm.
That's that's a really important one, that I have been taking, and usually I take during prep as well, just because you need something to help break down and absorb the nutrients from the food. And so the enzyme has been a huge thing that I've been doing probably for the past couple years when it comes to preps, especially just to help me just take everything in and really allow my body to use it. So it's definitely something I recommend for sure. I think that's
Nice.
it though.
Yeah, that was a lot of great stuff. And I feel like it's also kind of what's it called? I'm kind of glad that you don't take a lot of stuff because I feel like a lot of people fall into the pitfall of they need to be taking all these supplements and if they're not going to get great results or it's not optimal or blah blah
Yeah,
blah. So, it's kind of cool to see like someone that's been as successful as you have like is not super reliant on all these different things. Like I feel like it gives hope to the average gym bro that it's like okay, well I can just go in, train hard, and get decent results. Um,
yeah,
but that's cool though. And also, it's interesting to see the stuff that you would take while you're dieting down versus like if you're like in your off season or whatever. So for me personally, I just started taking glutamine because these
mm,
powerlifting workouts have been absolutely killing me. And it's rough
yeah,
because it's like I'll get 8, 9 hours of sleep and I'll still wake up and feel like complete garbage because I'm going so heavy so often. So
yeah,
obviously like okay, like I need to deload, but the glutamine has definitely been helping a lot. Um Trying to think of what else. Definitely pre-workouts. I'm kind of the same way that you are. Like I'll just cycle different pre-workouts because I feel like or isn't necessarily as bad or good as the other. It's just different. Um
yeah. Like
yeah,
it all
and then
depends. Like I was gonna say, sometimes you just want a different flavor. Like
yeah, exactly. Another thing is like I tend to build up a tolerance very fast. So it's like let's say I have one and then I get used to it in a little bit, and then it's like, okay, well, if I still want that edge, whatever, for a workout, then I'll just switch to a different brand, and it usually ends up working out. I'm
Mm.
trying to think of what else. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of similar. Like, yes, I'll take like proteins or maybe some amino acids and stuff like that. But to be honest, like I just take BCAAs because it makes the water taste good. Like I know that
Yeah.
there's yeah,
Yeah.
it just helps because it's like, all right, like I need hydration, and if this is gonna make the water taste better, whether or not it works or not, maybe it's what's it called, like a placebo or whatever. Like I just enjoy doing it. And then all the
Yeah.
other stuff like greens and stuff like that, I'm usually taking.
And Sally, coffee's gross. Yeah,
LOL.
Elm Street.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's funny. The only time in my life I ever drank coffee was when I used to work for a moving company, and I would have to be at the warehouse at 6 in the morning, and I'd be moving stuff from 6 until 4:30 p.m. And I just couldn't survive without it. But even then, I mixed in like hot chocolate because I was like, this tastes like garbage.
Yeah, no,
So
I can't do it. I can't do it. Like,
yeah,
no matter what. Why would I? Why would I do it to myself and drink coffee when I can drink a Bang or something like that?
yeah, something that tastes good. Yeah, it's funny because my brother went from not drinking coffee, like whatever, in his entire life, and now he drinks it black. And then even like his other drinks too, like when he drinks like bourbon or tequila, he just drinks it straight. And I'm like, don't you want to enjoy life? Like, instead of just drinking all the stuff that doesn't taste good. Um, all right, so we've covered a lot. The next thing I wanted to talk about was your approach to your training splits, right? So there's so much controversy on like, oh, this split is more optimal and blah blah blah. How do you approach your training? Do you tend to kind of stick with like an old school bro split, or are you very like, hey, I need to work on this lagging body part, so this is going to be my focus, and so on and so forth? Like, what's your approach to stuff?
So, so I do tend to be like, okay, yeah, this is lagging, so I got to bring this up. But at the same time, I don't have like a set routine. But I guess the closest thing to like my workouts would be like a bro split because my body parts have separate days, but sometimes sometimes I might decide that, I want to do chest and arms together, or I might want to do back and arms. Like, so it always varies, for me. And it really just depends on how I feel. Like, the only thing that's for sure is Monday is never chest day for me. That, that'll never happen.
Yeah,
I just, I personally just I can't do it on a Monday. Like, Sunday is fine. Tuesday,
yeah,
both of those days are good. But Monday, you will not catch me doing chest on a Monday.
yeah.
Usually I do legs on Mondays.
Yo,
Um,
same.
my-
Me too.
I, I don't know what it is, but usually Monday just has to be, legs for some odd reason.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I'll do like what I do. I think, so this week it was Sunday was chest. Monday was, I think, legs. Tuesday was shoulders. Today was off. And then I'm gonna do back tomorrow, probably legs again on Friday, Friday. And then,
Hang on, my coach is trying to call me out. Zero sugar, my friend. Where is it at? Where is it at? There we go. I got you, coach. I'm not cheating on the plan. I got you.
yeah, you can't do it on here. The one thing you
Yeah,
can't cheat
exactly.
on.
Exactly. Caught red-handed. Um, but yeah, no, I definitely agree. And like my rationale has kind of been a couple things. First of all, if everybody and their mom is doing chest on a Monday, why would I sit around for 30 minutes waiting for a bench, right? And
Exactly.
then the second thing is I want to hit the most difficult body part when I'm fresh, right? So I've been on a split where I hit legs at the end of the week, and I can't even do like whatever 225 on the bar because I'm so fried from hitting everything else. Versus
Yeah.
if I have legs in the beginning of the week, I can smash them as hard as possible because I'm fresh. So I'm definitely right there with you, both for convenience, but also like putting my split that way for a particular reason. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, for
Well,
sure.
then with depending on when I go to, like if I tend to try to go later on at night, then that'll also determine what I'm training as well. Because certain things you can't do at night no matter what,
Yeah,
at crunch. So generally nighttime workouts also are either arms or shoulders for me. Sometimes they can be legs too, but mostly I'll do arms or shoulder if I go for a late night workout
yeah,
because with those body parts you can have the 15s or 20s and burn them out,
yep,
get a good pump, get a good workout in, and leave, as opposed to other ones where you need heavier dumbbells, you need machines, you need the cable or something like that, and you're just not going to get that.
mhm, for sure. Yeah, that's actually hysterical because it's like typical gym goer problems that people don't really think or talk about. So that's funny, but also like really smart. So let me see. So my next question is like, what are some of your go-to exercises to develop a good physique? So like for me, obviously, I'm a big powerlifting head. I'm a diehard squat, bench, and deadlift. But for
SBD.
some people, yeah, exactly. For some people, they kind of like not are against it per se, but they're like, okay, well, the deadlift's not going to be a good back builder because the lats aren't stretching and contracting. It's just isometric and blah blah blah. So what are your go-to exercises to develop the physique that you have?
So for me, my piece of advice is whatever works for you is what you do and you
Yeah,
stick with. Like, look, deadlift does help develop your back. So that's what you want to do. People always say, yeah, is it a back exercise or a leg exercise? Well, technically it's both. Like,
yeah,
so I don't know. It can fall in either day. Um, so back generally, rows, different rows, whether it's seated rows on a cable. I like chest supported rows, on a bench, bent rows, uh, rack pulls, well, T-bar rows, your standard exercises. Um, I usually tend to superset a decent amount of stuff I'm doing it myself. Just tend to be what I enjoy more, what because I'll get more of a pump. I don't like the feeling of like not really feeling like I'm having a pump anymore by like taking a longer rest. So I just tend to try and like fatigue it as much as possible, except for on like rack pulls or bent rows when I'm trying to possibly go a little heavier or something like that.
gotcha.
Um, but yeah, those like the standard for that. Chest, I tend to do a lot of incline focus stuff, as opposed to flat. So like I don't barbell bench at all. I can't remember the last time I got under a barbell and and did a regular bench. Um, Everything is dumbbells and inclines for me. Um, uh, the cables, uh, under grip, front raises, things like that is what I tend to stick with for those. Um, legs are legs. Like yeah,
So do you do like squats and deadlifts, or are you typically like a machines and like Smith machine and leg press person?
no squats over here. My knees are shot. And for me, I personally just can't get comfortable with them. So it's just more leg press, more leg extensions, more leg curls, um, things like that for me for legs is what has helped me to develop them. Um, with with bodybuilding, you kind of have to focus more on specific areas you're trying to hit. So like when you look at if you watch a lot of bodybuilders, especially I would probably say you'll see it more so with like natural bodybuilding. and you've seen bodybuilders or classic guys or something like that, when they're when they're trying to pose and flex their quads, you can't really see the top portion of their quad. You only see like the bottom half, and you don't see the top half because they don't know how to flex it. And part of that is understanding how to do um, leg extensions to get that activation and that part of the muscle, which a lot of people don't have, don't understand how to do it. So for me, it's understanding like um, when you're doing it, just try and focus more on what you're doing as opposed to just trying to do it. You know, you have to just
Yeah.
go in with a purpose when it comes to your training. You know, if whatever you want to do or whatever you like doing when it comes to training, stick with it. And then if you're not seeing results, then you change and try something else.
Mm.
Like, you know, after a certain point, you have to know if this is working or this is not working. Like, if I come in, I'm doing, you know, 8 reps of an exercise and I'm not developing anything, well, guess what? I have to change and either try to do more weight or I have to try different exercises um, and get away from that because clearly that doesn't work for me personally. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, just because you see Joe Schmo doing, you know, on Instagram on their reel talking about top 3 exercises to build quads,
Yeah.
and you know they're jacked. Well, guess what? That doesn't mean it's going to work for you,
Right.
and clearly it's not if you've been following their plan and you're still look the same.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's funny because it's like a lot of people don't realize that. And then for me, I'm a big advocate of like you're saying, like if it works for you, then keep on doing it. But also like sticking with simple stuff because I feel like people do such complicated like exercises and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, why would you do that? Like you can't load up weight for it because the movement's so complicated and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That was also another part of my question. Are there exercises you would consider less optimal, and do you use certain exercises to sculpt versus add mass? Because I feel like some people say an exercise is an exercise, and it's all about your diet to sculpt and shape the muscle. Are you of that mindset as well, or not really?
Yeah, I feel like when it comes down to it, you know, the exercise is the exercise. You know, if you diet down correctly, you're going to see the muscle as it should be. If you don't diet down correctly, well, you're not going to see the muscle as it should be. So, so yeah, to me, that I'm on the same wavelength when it comes to that. Yeah,
Nice. What's it called? So for me personally, right, especially if I'm working shoulders and stuff, I tend not to do front raises because I'm of the mindset it's like, okay, well, my front delts already get enough love from pressing all the time.
yeah.
Um, I guess, well, two things. What's your approach to your shoulder training? And then also like, um, do you think that the front delt or like something like that is already overtrained and would you focus on rear delts? Because it seems like you incorporate front raises into your program as well.
Yeah, so for my shoulders, I tend to really try to focus on all three heads of the shoulders. So um, generally, I do ease up on the front delts on an actual shoulder day because if I want to, I can just do on my chest days. I can just focus on adding in, you know, the specific front raise to hit the front delt more, and you know that way it gets its own focus, and then I can just focus on lateral raises, you know, seated press, you know, rear delt. Like that way, I can focus on the lateral and rear delts instead. Like because the rear delts is probably is one of the more neglected body parts
Yeah.
when you know when in all actuality you could do back and rear delts because they go together. So you just you add in some face pulls, rear flies, or something like that. Like you, to
Nice.
me, it's important to really focus on you know all 3 of them personally. Um, I mean, there's not too many exercises I can think of that I wouldn't incorporate, except for me, just flat bench. That's just not my thing. And then I don't do decline too much either, just because uh, your lower pack is already usually more developed. So I don't even focus on that. But I mean, I guess that would be like the main exercise where I'm like, you don't need it.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. Like, so for me personally, I don't incorporate, like I said, front raises because I do so much pressing. So my front delt's already very well developed or overdeveloped. And
Yeah.
then, what was the other one you said? Oh yeah, I also don't ever do decline pressing because, in my opinion, right, if I want something or if I want to look freaking jacked, it's all about the upper shelf and the upper chest and the
Yeah.
clavicle area. So I typically hammer that as hard as possible. So it's like, okay, well, why would I develop my lower chest and then kind of look like I have boobs instead of having like a solid like upper shelf? So I
Hmm.
definitely agree with that. Um, and I just incorporate flat bench because I love like flat benching. So again, like yeah,
Yeah, for
it's to
you,
each his own, for sure.
you have to. You have to for what you do. Like
Yeah,
that's your focus. If you were to switch and be like, hey, I wanna get ready for a show, I'd be like, okay, cool. Well, you can still flat bench. You don't need to, but if that's what you want to do, I would one of the first thing I would say is hit more incline.
yeah,
That would just that'd be the main thing. I'm like, look, you can still do flat bench, but make sure you're also focusing on your incline bench a little bit more. So.
yeah. And I tend to be like kind of seasonal with it, especially when I was less focused on powerlifting. I would have a couple months when I would do flat bench, and then a couple months when I would do just incline bench, and then focus on building the upper chest
Mm.
that way. But like year round, if I'm doing power building, I'm always going to incorporate some kind of dumbbell incline to work on the upper chest for sure. All right, let me see what the next one is. So, how has your programming and your prep changed over the years? And what's the leanest body fat percentage that you've ever been?
So the leanest I've ever been is probably uh, I really don't know because I've never actually measured it, but I mean I'll say I'll say 5%. I don't
Gotcha.
actually know, but
I feel like that's like a 5% is like a standard, like professional level leanness if you're going to step on stage.
yeah. So I'm pretty sure it was somewhere around there. That is what I would say is like the leanest I've been, which is yeah, pretty standard. Nothing crazy to me. I could be wrong, but I've never been somebody that really focused on uh that like really measured body fat like before or after um because it never really dawned on me. I just knew the look that I was going for, and that was my focus was here's what I want to look like, and here's what I need to get to, and that was it. Like um, when it came to dieting for me, like after a certain point, I didn't bother weighing myself toward like the last few weeks, especially as somebody that preps themselves. Like I can't do it. Like it's just how do I look? Am I flatter? Okay. Am I looking a little fuller? Okay. So I don't do that. And then what was the first part of the question?
How has your programming and your prep changed?
So um, overall, when I first started, it was your typical bodybuilder program where, you know, faster cardio was a must for, you know, 30 to 45 minutes to an hour. It was, that's what you did every day. It was standard. Like that's what I did. It was standard to go zero carb, zero carb for the last couple weeks before you start, peak week. Um, fish. Having fish was pretty standard like when I first started. And as somebody that despises fish, that was the worst part.
Yeah.
for me. Cardio wasn't bad for me. Um, Dieting wasn't too bad for me, so I was able to kind of do it. But when it came to that fish, like it just I couldn't get by it. Like the first year I started competing. I was I was dieting down for it was either my first or my second show, and I was doing. It was actually like I think like 2 nights before the show, and I was still doing fish and asparagus, and I was going to eat it, and I got to a point where literally felt like I was going to throw it up,
Hmm.
and then that was the last time that I ate fish on a prep. I was
Hmm.
like, never again. I was like, I'm not going to do it to myself because things like that is what's going to have you not want to do it anymore when you feel
Right.
like you have to do it. So I got rid of that mindset completely, and I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to do that. Chicken and ground turkey it is. I was also your typical, my lean meats have to be, 93, 99%, 96%. You know, that's out the window. Like I usually 90% is like the highest I'll go. So I'm not spending an extra like, $6 on, one pack of meat. Like I don't do that anymore. Uh, trying to think of what else I did. I mean, those were the main, like your main typical things that people did, um, you know, or still do. I did, but now, oh, I never did fruit before, and then, I got out of that mindset and got into, having fruit uh, at some point in the day, usually pre-workout or post-workout. Um, I was I, I was fine with 90%, turkey or chicken. Chicken I can eat all year, so that doesn't bother me. So that's been fine. My cardio, like we said earlier, my cardio is just whenever I feel like it, I hop on and get it done. So I mean, everything that you think you have to do, I don't really do anymore. And
Gotcha.
usually the people that I have helped prep, I kind of help them to understand that too and get them out of that mindset. And and it has been working for some people. So people understand you don't have to die trying to
Yeah. Yeah.
get to this stage, which is like the biggest thing. Like you don't want to, you have to suffer, but you don't want to like really dread it as you're trying to suffer. And that was a big thing for me was understanding that aspect of it. But I think I think those are the main things.
Nice.
Like,
So, did you, because you compete in classic now, right? Classic physique.
yeah.
Did you always do classic, or did you start? Because I'm pretty sure I've seen you with board shorts. So, when did you decide to hang up the board shorts and then grab the speedo?
So, 2017 and 2018, I was doing NPC shows. So I did. So 2017, I did 4 NPC shows. Came in came in second in the first three, and then won the fourth show. 2018, I did. I think I did the Garden States, won that show, and then the week after was Team U and got crushed. And then 20, I think 2018 was when I actually was switching from NPC and did the OCD. And what happened was I was so used to the NPC where you can cross over to different divisions. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do uh, classic and men physique just to kind of see how it is. Well, I had to decide. because you can cross over between classic and men's physique. So I kind of just like, well, um, I talked to my old high school coach and I was like, well, what should I do? And she was like, well, do classic. So what? So then I started working on the posing for that to get ready. And a big thing I was focused on was I actually was taking old OCB shows that were on YouTube and I was posing to them to get my posing down because posing is one of the most important things when it comes to getting on stage because what's the point of dieting down if you can't present your package?
Right.
So so I was always in there and I'm just sitting there listening and just sitting there holding the poses, quarter turns, making sure keeping everything tight. So I was just big on that stuff and that kind of what got me going into classic and then it was kind of just it from there, moving on to um doing two more, so getting my pro card in the OCB show in 2018, and then in 2019 doing um, my first and second pro shows for the OCB, and then in the AMBF. So,
So for those who kind of don't really know, can you explain the difference between classic physique and men's physique?
so men's physique, you're in your board shorts, like you're on the beach, just focused on your being muscular and being symmetrical, but not being overly shredded was what they say, and not being overly muscular is the focus for that. Classic, you want a nice streamlined physique. Um, you want to make sure you want to be more defined and more muscular, but not overly shredded like you would be for bodybuilding. And then also the poses are different. So men's physique, you just hit a front and a back pose. Classic physique, you have your front and your back pose. You have all your quarter turns. You have your front double bicep, back double bicep, um, side chest, and favorite classic poses. And then you get to have more fun with the actual posing routine, which is usually which is like the most fun part, is putting together the routine to really display your physique, to highlight all your attributes. So,
Nice. I think it's kind of funny because like I've seen some of the professional, whatever, like the men's physique competitors, they're freaking massive, absolutely jacked.
yeah,
It's so crazy. And I like obviously whatever people are using PEDs and stuff like that, but it's like a lot of the men's physique competitors are bigger than like some of the classic physique competitors. It's crazy, dude, but that's cool. All right, so kind of taking a step from the bodybuilding side, I want to talk to you about some things with like small business. So, big question is,
mm.
what got you into making ice cream, and what made you decide to create Baker's Delights?
So it really just started because I was making ice cream for fun, like for my family, just kind of just to do it. So we had something for holidays and stuff like that. But it was just one of those things where I just started doing it and, fine tuning the recipes and things like that, trying different things. And I was actually, it was one of the things where I was just posting different things I was making. Not really doing anything about, like, not really doing it to try and thinking everything was going to come of it, but just kind of just being like, hey, look at this. Like,
Mhm.
that's all. Um, and then it was just, one of my coworkers, one of my boys at work actually was the first one to end up buying the ice cream, and I was just like, and then his reaction and everything was like, he really loved it, and it was just one of the things where I was like, okay, well, if if he really likes it, well, let me kind of see, what can come of this. And it was kind of things where, I made it for somebody at the last show I did last year in May, and then that's pretty much when it kind of started. And I was talking to my coworkers about starting it and figure out a name. And then we were just like at work, just doing this for hours and hours. And then we were just kind of spitballing different names. And then it was like that kind of just came up out of nowhere with the name Baker's Delights. Um, and then it was just me kind of doing research and seeing if if the name's out there and things like that, to see if it was available and stuff. So it, it was just kind of one of those fluke things that just kind of just fell into my lap. And then I just actually pretty much went out and actually tried to do it as opposed to just kind of just sitting back and not doing anything with this, um, you know, with this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I really love that backstory because it's like one of the things that drives me crazy is that there's like sayers and then there's doers, right? And I have some
Mhm.
friends where they have such great ideas, but that's all it ever is an idea. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So to take something like that and then actually make something out of it is pretty dope. So I got a lot of respect for you for that. So my next
Yeah.
question is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, like, Facebook is like the place where when you look at your memories, it tells you all the things that you wanted to do at one point and then you never did. So like it shows you all your old dreams and aspirations that you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
do this, and you never do anything with it. So I mean, for me, it's actually been cool because like I've been able to see, where it started, like with the ice cream back in the day, and what I was doing and how it looked, and then now where it is today. It's been cool to see that and actually see myself following through with it as opposed to what I've done in the past, which like everybody else, we're just kind of just say, oh, I'm gonna do it, and then never doing anything with it. So
yeah, exactly. So my next question was about balance, right? So yes, it's extremely impressive that you have done like competing and all that other stuff. It's impressive that you started to get your small business off the ground. But the thing that I really respect the most about you is that you somehow have balanced a small business, competing and working out, being a coach, and also a marriage. So one of the things I've kind of struggled with is, and I've talked to my coach about this as well, is if you're dating somebody that isn't into fitness as much as you are, I feel like it's kind
mhm.
of tough because it's like not necessarily fighting because your woman's going to support you. Um, but like, how do you find the balance of all that stuff and kind of making it work and making sure that you also abide by like her needs and stuff like that?
So it's really it's one of those things where it's um it takes understanding, and like your significant other has to like at least be on board and um understand like why you're doing what you're doing. For me, when it came to competing, it was to win, but it was also to get a check. Like so she understood like, we were competing to get more money. So she was kind of like, she's been like on board with that, but she also understands, why I do what I do. So she knows that I enjoy it, and I like competing. I like getting better. So she's okay with me doing what I have to do to get there. It's just the sacrifice is understood of what has to be done. Um, with that, I'm also able to, we still understand that I'm able to have a cheat meal when I want, So if we want, we can go out and still have a date night on Saturday or Sunday, and that's kind of our time, nice balance, and just able to get away from that, which which kind of helps to just keep it going essentially, and um, and keep.
Oh no. All right, let me see if I can invite him back. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing I heard was having an understanding so that way you guys can keep things going
Yes.
and finding like the balance with like the cheat meals and stuff like that.
Yeah. Um, but for me, it's like generally when I'm not prepping, I, I shift my focus to on whatever I have to shift it to. But also, if I happen to be dieting for a show and it's like football season, well, it's understood that I, I have to eat my meal at this time. I have to do this at this time. So it's it's not just me, it's the people around me that make it easier for me to be able to um, prep and get things done as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know, like, especially when I was doing like my dieting down, like my fiance and I kind of butted heads a couple times because like
Mhm.
one of her love languages is quality time, right? And so it's like
Mhm.
if we're going out and getting something to eat together for her, she's like, "Oh, like I love this, whatever, blah blah blah." But then for me, um, because I'm a go hard or go home kind of person, I tend to be very all in when I'm eating. So like for me, if I can have a set structure, it helps me kind of keep things in the balance. So I was
Yeah,
like trying to explain to her like I'm doing this whatever for my health and blah blah blah. And so it's like you're saying you have to be very understanding of each other. And I think it's taken a little bit of time, but I think she kind of sees like why I'm doing all this, and it's not just because I'm what's it called, like egotistical or blah 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 because I want to be shredded. Like it's more for my health and to have that balance. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, that's cool. So let me see. I got two more questions for you. I do want to be cognizant of your time. I don't know how long you got, so I'll try to wrap it up sometime soon. My next question was, what advice would you give to someone who's just starting their competing or small business journey, and what lessons have you learned the hard way?
So when it comes to competing, um, just go all in if you're gonna really do it. Like so many times you see people that kind of just do a show to do a show and just they just want to get a trophy and don't actually push themselves like they should. And their physique shows that. So for me, it's like, if you're gonna do it, really follow through and do it. And then there's, with Instagram and everything, now you really don't have to do it alone because there's plenty of people that you can, reach out to that'll probably help you, and you don't actually have to pay for a coach. Like I'm one person that like I'm always looking to help people, and I don't charge anybody for anything when it comes to me for questions. Like it's because I just like to see people come in at their best and just improve themselves. So like I don't need to do it for money. So like if you message me, hey, how do I look? Do you think I can be ready for this show? Do you think I can do this? Here's what I'm doing, and I'm not really seeing changes. What do you think I should do? Like I'm somebody you can ask, and I'll help you out. Like I'll ask you all the questions in the world to see what's going on, and then I'll give you my piece of advice on what I think might work to help you get there. Like just just ask a question. The worst that'll happen is they won't answer you, or they'll say no, or they'll try and charge you. That's all. Like other than that, they might actually answer your question. Like um, like I do it all the time. Like I don't care, but um, so that's what I would say for that. Um, for business, I guess just get started. Uh, it's so tough because I'm still like so new, and there's still so much that I have to do personally when it comes to the business that I haven't done yet, and I'm actually waiting to do until after we come back from vacation. So like right now, I'm working on the website to get that up and running. Um, I'm still working on trying to trying to ship because that's going to be a huge thing that I have to um, develop and get going. Um, so business wise, I haven't made too many of too many mistakes yet that I can give good advice on. Just keep going. Like even when you don't feel like it. There's sometimes when I don't feel like making ice cream, but but I but I'll still do it. So I actually had somebody that messaged me Saturday night about wanting uh 40 40 half pints for Sunday
Wow.
for for uh for like his engagement party. And for me, I didn't have those cups, so I had to do 10 quarts. But still, I mean, I easily could have been like, no, I can't do it. But instead, I was like, all right, well, here's the flavors I can do, um, and here's how much it is. And then he was like, okay, cool. And then boom, I got it done in a few hours. But it, just just do it. Just do it, people.
Nice. Yeah, I like all the stuff that you're saying, especially like the work ethic for everything. For me, I'm of the opinion that you shouldn't compete unless it's something that you know that you want to do. So, like me, for example, I personally feel like I could compete and I would probably do pretty well. But then I kind of think about everything that I would have to give up to do it and like the strain that it would put on certain relationships and stuff. And it's like, if you're not 100% willing to sacrifice that, like, I don't feel like you should do that. Um,
Yeah,
because like you're saying, like you're kind of having like one foot in, 1 foot out, and you're not giving it your best effort, blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
Same thing for business. I would probably say the same thing that you say. You got to be all in with it. Um, for me, I feel like one of the reasons why I run my own business is because in my eyes, I'm like, okay, well, why would I work as hard as possible to make somebody else money when I can work as hard as possible to do it for myself? You know what I mean? So
mhm,
I definitely agree with you where it's like you got to be all in for these kind of things and work as hard as possible. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. So my last
mhm.
question for you is, what are your personal goals for 2022? Like, business goals or fitness goals? Are you going to compete again? What's going through your head for this year?
So competing wise, I am up in the air. I've been thinking about doing a couple shows. Um, right now, I'm in pretty good shape, mostly for vacation. But uh, me, me kind of getting ahead of the curve, I can hop on the show if I want. But it's possible that there's a show in May I might do. I think it's May 21st. AMBF has a show that I'm thinking about doing. And then they have another show in August I was thinking about doing. That's actually the week after we get back from Alaska. So so I'm thinking about doing that as well. Other than that, show wise, probably nothing. It to me, I don't have a huge desire to be on stage at this point right now. So that's why it's kind of up in the air. And I'm not one of the people that would just hop in a show to hop in a show and look look good, but not look, you know, pretty much my best. I there's plenty of people that just compete to compete, and you know, they come in the same, each time you see them. Like that's not the purpose of bodybuilding. Like when you're bodybuilding, when you're competing, it's about improving, and it's not just you seeing it. Like when you're going to doing these different shows, especially if you're having the same judges, they want to see the improvement. So it's not just for you, it's for them. Because if you come in, you look the same, well, you probably just get the same place. So it's about being improved. So judges or your coach or whoever, you yourself can be like, oh, wow, this looks so much better. I brought up this body part. I brought up this. Like that's that's what it's about. And that's one thing that people don't understand right now. Like, because I got a few people, I'm not going to name the names, but I got a few people that I talk to in my DM where all we do is talk about how people people are just coming in and just looking the same. They're they're not dieting like they should. They're not giving their body the rest that it needs. Things like that. I'm always trying to help people. Some people want to hear it, some people don't. It is what it is. But I'm usually always going to be the person that's like, that'll tell you how it is no matter what.
Mhm.
You hate me, you hate me. Oh well.
Nice.
uh,
Cool. All right, sir. Well, that's all the questions I had for you. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or do you have any questions for me?
uh, nope, I don't. Go follow the ice cream page,
Yes,
Faces
definitely.
Delights Ice Cream. Yep, go give it a follow. Yep, I got nothing.
Cool. All right, sir. Well, I seriously really, really appreciate you for your time, all your advice. This was a great talk. If you guys don't follow Devin, please follow him. Please follow his ice cream page. And I guess enjoy getting ready for your vacation.
Yep. All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right. I'll see you.
See ya.